Hello, Abigail here with the astrology for this week. This week has some really major shifts in it and also feels kind of more symbol, but it's more of a feeling. I'll just say that. It's more of an intuition rather than astrological fact. Just say that. We do start off this week with something pretty exciting. I'm excited for it. I don't hate Aquarius season, but it is always a lot when we go through that double Saturn cycle when we go from Capricorn to Aquarius, and we are moving into Pisces season on Tuesday the 18th. And I am very here for it. Is this Pisces season wild? Yes. Is specifically the month of March, which is half of Pisces season is in March, going to be crazy and intense? Yes. This is some of the most, I don't want to say unhinged, but really massive stuff all happening at once that we've had in a while. Um, at the end of March, we have a final Aries eclipse, and then, Neptune moving into Aries. That's the whole thing. And then in Pisces season, we've got the Venus retrograde, we've got the Mercury retrograde, and there's so many really complex aspects happening. Also, the last part of Pisces season, I'm basically just recapping the video I made about this. If you really want to know, you can go check out my kind of overview of Pisces season, but we have some really intense eclipses happening. There's that Aries one, and then in Pisces season, we have the Virgo eclipse. I want to say that's on the 14th. It's right before Mercury stations. There's just a lot is happening, and I think it's important as we move into Pisces season that we're aware of how intense it's going to be. Also, the ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, and it's in detriment in Gemini still, and it does kind of create this kind of unexpected, almost it's kind of felt a little Uranian in a way. This kind of like over not overblown but magnified intensity of change and newness, and every day I'm like, do I have to learn 6 different new skills to survive? Um, so we're still getting that energy in Pisces season. Mercury is has moved into Pisces already, and that Mercury in detriment. Mars is in detriment. There's something really exciting happening with Mars this week. But I'm gonna keep my mouth shut until we get there. So we're kind of back in a position. Venus is in detriment. Um, we're in a position that we kind of were in back around Scorpio season where we had a lot of planets in detriment again. Because we had Mercury in Sagittarius, we had Venus in Scorpio, and then we had Mars in Cancer. We're kind of in a similar place where we were once again with Mercury in detriment, and we also had that Mercury retrograde. So there's a lot of similar themes. We just didn't have a Venus retrograde. So we're in this moment where the straight and narrow is not often the path. It's often the windy, twisted, and narrow and dangerous that we're going to have to be facing and confronting as we move into Pisces season. But I find in detriment moments, we can learn some really valuable lessons about resistance and resilience and the ability to throw off expectations and do things in a new and refreshing way. Is it unexpected? Is it not our norm? Is it not easy? Yes, but it is fun. Me as a Venus in Aries being like, it's fun to be a little unhinged. Sorry, y'all. Um, but it is going to be a very different Pisces season. We are going to be dealing with all of these kind of conflicting energies and these retrogrades. So take a deep breath. Also, a reminder, I do the Tarotscopes for Pisces season for each sign, sun, moon, and rising. You can feel free to check those out. I try to release about 2 a day from the beginning of Pisces season so that we kind of get through all of them within the first week and people aren't like in the middle of Pisces season getting this information. So please check those out for your sign. I will say that some of the signs this um, time around, if you don't have sun, moon, or rising in that sign, but you have a stellium where you have multiple planets in that sign, you should check it out too, because there's just a lot of really concentrated energy this Pisces season. Anyways, moving through the week, we move into Thursday with a Mercury square Jupiter. This is a detriment Jupiter, which I should have added to the detriment list. Square a detriment Mercury. Communication and expansion is not always straightforward. We have to diversify and we have to find new ways to communicate with others, to breathe life into our desires and our dreams and our words and what we want other people to know. Um, I do think, while I do love a good trine, you only really get traction in a square. You might get kind of, you might be able to jump on the slide, the water slide that is that trine. But as far as like being able to go a direction that might be hard, you need a square. So this is a day to really kind of face up to what you want and to accept that there are some thoughts too deep for tears, some words too rich and too beautiful to express in words. In these moments, music and poetry and um, emotion and expression is more valuable than clear, concise language. Um, Allow yourself to emote, allow yourself to write and to express in ways you never have before. And no, it's not going to be generally understood per se, but the people that these thoughts and these emotions are meant for, it will reach them. It just will reach them in a way that is unexpected, and pulling in that detriment Jupiter, we have been asked in this cycle to put things on their head, to do things and to find abundance in things in ways that we would never have expected before now. And yes, is there frustration with being like, again, we are changing things. Again, I have to do something different. It's very Gemini. But there is a beauty in it. And I think on the other side of the cycle, for many of us, we're going to have a really rich and diverse and very functional set of new and niche skills. And with this kind of beautiful detriment square, it is learning to kind of take the absurd and the seemingly non functional and give them a voice and let them play and let them exist. So, if you need to be silly goofy on Thursday, be silly goofy on Thursday. If you need to wail a wordless song on Thursday, wail a wordless song. If you need to talk gibberish and baby talk to express yourself, have fun. Now is the time. You know, I saw a picture on Instagram today that said absurd times call for absurd amounts of love. And I really think that this square, while it's not related to Venus, but related to expression in times like this, where things seem so backwards and where we seem to be regressing, that is the time to be unconventional, to do foolish things, to believe in foolish hopes, to dream dreams that are so over exaggerated and wild and funky that there's no way that they could not happen. That they are so silly that their existence is impossible to ignore. And that is the lesson of this square. Is it easy? No. Is it straightforward? 100% not. But is it a moment to dig into things that we have been told are valueless and stupid and ridiculous? Yeah. And to also believe that everything has a beautiful simplicity and synastry and connection in this great, big, beautiful cosmos that we live in. And then moving from this square, we go into Sunday. And we're coming up on something super exciting. I'm thrilled. But Mars stations direct. But before it stations direct, we get a trine with Mercury. And it's really interesting. So it's not within the degrees of that Mercury retrograde. But we get this really beautiful trine, which I think is really going to give us some really lovely message and information about everything we've been going through, but it's not going to be like a direct download where we're like, ah, yes, I see now the story of my Mars retrograde as it stations direct and all is clear. No, we're going to be getting dreams and interpretations and snatches of song, and um, something's going to hit us a certain way, and that is going to give us revelation. Um, it's a really beautiful time for interpretation and understanding. I also really think this is a beautiful day to read your tarot, to listen, to either get a reading or to read your own cards or do some kind of divination. There is a beautiful energy from this detriment Mercury of giving us some really unexpected, unexplainable gifts. And how Mercury in Pisces works is it's this really long, extended release that over time we get a revelation and we look back on something and we go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize in the moment everything that it was, but look at how beautiful it is. And was it digestible in the moment? No. But I really think that this trine with Mars as it stations is this moment to really sit with what this Mars retrograde has meant. And obviously, we will continue to do so as we go through the post shadow degrees, but it is a moment of release and celebration. Also, I think with Mercury in Pisces and with this Mars trine, it's important to not forget rage, to not forget frustration, to not forget that free flow isn't only for abundance. Free flow is also for our power and our strength and the rage that we contain and the power that that anger and force brings and our need to be connected to the expression of our pain and the expression of our lack of resource and the expression of our needs that are not met, because Mars and Cancer's needs are not met. And there's this insatiable desire for comfort and for more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just really frustrating, especially for those signs. Um, so, you know, allow this day to be a release. Allow this day to be what you need it to be. Mars stations direct at 9 p.m. on this day. We are finally out of the Mars retrograde, at least the retrograde part. We will still have to go through that shadow period for a couple of months, but it is a relief to see the end of this very tricky cycle. And for some people, it wasn't as tricky, but I know a lot of people have been struggling with it. So, welcome to Mars Direct as we leave this week that I'm currently talking about. But let it be what it is. Use movement, use dance, use movement. I just said that. I meant music, music and song and wordless cries to express yourself on this day. Whether it be joy at the ending of the retrograde, whether it be a release from something you've been holding in, let it be what it needs to be. And let that trine flow. And a trine with Mars is not pretty or nice or clean, but it can be wild and wonderful and feral. And that beautiful Mercury in all of its in all of its struggles and frustrations gives voice to our deepest desires and to our hidden depths. And it's messy. And it's also beautiful. All right, my loves, that is kind of the major astrological aspects and happenings in astrology for this week. Please comment any questions or observations that you have. I love to hear from you all. Also, please like and subscribe. It maketh my day. And I will see you in a different place and time. I hope you all have, if not a stress-free week, a week of wailing and gnashing of teeth. Let those feelings, let those frustrations out. Let detriment planets give voice to the parts of yourself that are voiceless. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't express yourself in the way that you want. Anyways,